Okay, let's talk about one of the most maddening things in management. You pour your heart and soul into crafting the perfect set of instructions, right? I mean, it's crystal clear. And then the result is just disappointing. Well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to totally dismantle that myth of the perfect instruction and show you a way, a much, much better way to get the results you're actually looking for. Just picture this for a second. You've spent hours, maybe even days, writing this super detailed email or a project brief. You've thought of everything. You've answered every possible question before it's even been asked. You hit send, feeling pretty good about it, thinking there is no way this can be misinterpreted. And then the final result comes back, and it's just not right. It completely misses the point. I mean, sure, every box is ticked. Every single instruction was followed to the letter. But the final product? It just feels flat, lifeless. And your team is totally confused because, hey, they did exactly what you asked them to do. This is that crazy paradox of communication. You can be perfectly clear and still be completely misunderstood. So let's dig into why that happens, and more importantly, what we can do about it. Now here's the thing. This isn't just about picking better words or writing a clearer email. Nope. The root cause goes so much deeper, right down to the fundamental wiring of our brains. This isn't about just tweaking your management style a little bit. It's about completely rethinking how amazing work gets done in the first place. This slide gets right to the heart of the matter. Look at the animal, like this weaver bird. It operates on pure instinct. It's like it has pre-installed software from the factory. It builds a perfect nest every single time because, well, it literally can't do anything else. But us, humans, we're totally different. We're like blank canvases, and we spend our entire lives writing our own code based on every single unique thing we experience. And that right there is the key. Because all our experiences are unique, no two people ever see the exact same thing in the exact same way. It's like you and your team member are looking at the same ink blot test. You see a butterfly, they see a spaceship. And guess what? Neither of you is wrong. But you are not seeing the same picture. That little gap between your realities, that's where even the most perfect instructions just fall apart. Let's see how this actually plays out with a couple of people. Okay, so meet Alex. He's a brilliant product manager who lives by the motto, if you want something done right, you have to spell out every single detail. And this is Sophia, a total rockstar developer who absolutely loves a good challenge, a good puzzle to solve. So Alex hands Sophia this massive 50-page document for a new feature, outlining everything from the algorithm logic right down to the specific hex code for a button's color. So what happens? Sophia does her job. She follows Alex's instructions perfectly, down to the last comma. But to do that, she has to actively shut down all her own creative ideas, her better solutions, her instincts. She has to turn off the very part of her brain that Alex hired her for in the first place. The result? A feature that is, yeah, technically perfect, but creatively, it's a ghost town. Alex is disappointed, Sophia feels like a robot, and the whole project just suffers. So if giving these hyper-detailed instructions is actually the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's a beautifully simple but really powerful shift in your thinking. The answer is to delegate problems, not instructions. The core idea here is really simple. Stop telling people how to do their jobs. Instead, you clearly define the problem that you need solved, you explain why it's so important, and then, and this is the big part, you trust them to figure out the best way to solve it. This one little change transforms a person from just a task doer into a genuine creative partner. All right, let's rewind that scene with Alex and Sophia. This time, Alex doesn't give her a 50-page manual. He walks over to her and says, Sophia, we've got a problem. User engagement is tanking. I need your amazing brain on this. How do we build a smart feed that people will absolutely love and can't stop using? You see the difference? It's huge. He's not giving her a map. He's giving her a destination and asking her to be the navigator. And just like that, in this new scenario, Sophia isn't just a pair of hands typing on a keyboard anymore. She's a problem solver. She is totally unleashed. She's empowered to bring her full expertise, her creativity, her passion to the challenge. And because of that, you better believe her motivation and the quality of what she builds are going to go through the roof. Patton really got it. He understood that real leadership isn't about control. It's about empowerment. When you trust your people with the what and you give them total ownership of the how, you unlock a level of creativity and ingenuity you could never, ever script yourself. And this isn't just some feel-good idea. The data on this is absolutely overwhelming. So yeah, don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the hard numbers. Because this is not just a nice philosophy, it is a powerful and proven driver of real business success. Let's start with the bottom line: money. A recent study from Gallup found that companies that empower their teams to solve problems rather than just follow orders see a staggering 33% higher revenue growth. Just let that sink in for a second. A third higher growth just by changing the way you delegate. That's incredible. But it's not just about the money, right? It's about invention, about creating the future. A landmark study showed that teams with a high degree of autonomy are up to 30% more likely to produce groundbreaking innovations. You're not just getting tasks done faster, you're literally building an engine for new ideas. And this might be the most important one. This approach creates a place where amazing people actually want to work. McKinsey found that employees who are given problems to solve are 40% more satisfied with their jobs than those who are just told what to do. In today's crazy competitive market for talent, that's not just a nice to have, that's a massive strategic advantage. And look, the giants of the industry live by this. Amazon's 2 pizza teams, Google's legendary 20% time that gave us things like Gmail, Spotify's squads. The lesson is crystal clear. The world's most innovative companies don't hire brilliant people to then tell them exactly what to do. They hire brilliant people, give them incredibly hard problems, and then they get out of the way. Okay, the evidence is pretty convincing, right? But the big question is, how do you actually start doing this on your own team without, causing total chaos? Let's break down a simple, practical playbook. Here is a simple 90-day plan to get you started. For the first couple of weeks, just look at how you do things now and pick a small pilot team to try this out with. Then, in weeks 3 and 4, you launch. You carefully frame their first big strategic problem. Now, the next month, that's often the hardest part. Your job is to coach, to resist the urge to jump in and give answers, and instead just ask guiding questions. And finally, in the last month, you measure the results, you look at the wins, and you use those success stories to scale this approach to other teams. Now look, this transition isn't always going to be perfectly smooth sailing. If an employee kind of freezes up or seems stuck, it probably just means they need more context. That's when you provide what's called scaffolding. Not instructions, but support, like key data or access to an expert. If a solution starts to go way off strategy, it usually just means the guardrails, things like budget, timeline, brand rules, weren't clear enough from the start. And for the manager, for you, if you just can't let go, that's normal. It's usually a fear of failure. Just start with a small, low-risk project to build trust in your team and in this new process. So, the next time you feel that urge to write out a long, super detailed set of instructions, I want you to just pause for a second. And instead of asking, how can I explain this perfectly, ask yourself this: what is the problem I actually need solved? Frame that problem for your team, give them a destination, not a map, and then just get ready to be absolutely amazed by where they take you.